Alright guys, so today I'm actually here to talk about the Uwell. I don't know how you pronounce it, but we're going to go with Uwell. We're going to talk about the Uwell RaphaleX. And this is something I've been excited about. Alright guys, so this is a look at the Uwell RaphaleX up close. And I don't really have much to say about this thing, except, who am I kidding? I got a lot to say about it. Okay, so, as you can see here, you have a staggered hole design. And unlike traditional velocity designs, and that's the first thing I noticed, these are actually all the way out here, So imagine this full 24 millimeters to build in, if you want to go that route. Which you fully have that option. This center post actually can come out pretty. I goofed and stripped the screw out because I couldn't see what I was doing and I didn't know what I was doing. But if you were to take a flathead screwdriver to this, then take the supplied Phillips head screwdriver or one of these Craftsman boys I picked up. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could technically use any brand so long as you can fit it down in there. Like about that far, really. But anyway, remove screw. Screw pops out the bottom. This will pop right off. Like I said, it's in there tight. You're probably going to strip it with a supplied screwdriver though, to get something big. So, anyways, getting back to that, and actually away from that. Like I said, this is a 24 millimeter diameter with a 43 millimeter height. What does that mean? That means from, well, not there to there because I ain't closing this thing because it's a pain in the neck to get open. But from top to bottom, it is 43 millimeters. For those of you that care about the size, I mean, it is important because it lends itself to the portability, I guess, compactness. You know, the ability to throw it in your pocket and walk away. You can't do that with a big old thing like that 571, right? So anyways, other things I noticed about this particular device. If you were to build a dual coil design, and I'm not talking the velocity, I'm talking using this here dummy post, dummy neutral, whatever you want to call it. It lends it, these holes are actually, if you look at them, they are spaced perfectly in the sense that your coil, depending on which side you're building on, your coil is always going to start up here and down here. That's just the way coils are. It's the way geometry works. Pretty much, what does that mean? That means you can actually build with straight leads. You don't have to sit there and bend them, and to generally have one bent up and over, you can just have it going straight through. That's not too important, but that is nice for having equal distance leads, which is, as we all know, important. And this thing is actually very finicky when you build dual coils, any of them. This seems more finicky than most devices. Okay, you got your bottom, you got your brass pin right here, which is neither here nor there. I'm not too concerned with it. Most metals seem to conduct, well, let's just say good enough. Now, one thing this middle post allows you to do is to build a dual coil design and keep it fairly high ohms. It's not difficult for me to keep two 6 wraps of 22 gauge, fairly thick wire, not super thick, but really thick enough, and keep myself well over 1 ohm, because this neutral post is doing nothing. So it essentially becomes a matter of, I built one 12 wrap coil, more or less. So what's that mean? Why wouldn't I just build one long 12 wrap coil? Well, one thing I've noticed with most of the RDAs I use, they actually, if you only have one coil, then the airflow, say, for example, I have the coil over here on this side, any air coming in from this side is going to be cool, like room temperature cool. It's going to ruin my experience. Now, that being said, if these are both technically the same coil for all intents and purposes. They are both getting heated. They are both, in fact, heating the air. It allows me for a somewhat warm vape. But at that low or high of an ohmage, then at that high of an ohmage, you start running into the problem of you're not going to be pushing a whole lot of watts through there. I mean, honestly, my device will kick off at about 9 volts, and I don't often hit 100 watts when I'm talking over 1 ohm. But it's still doable. I still get a lot of vapor out of that. Now, other things to note. If you can get a look at that, see, boom, these two, and right directly across from it, there are 3 holes. If you look over here, there is only one, and one on the other side. They are calling that flavor mode or airflow mode. It is basically the same thing every dang mod has. RDA, whatever it is. And as you can see, they actually have this sealed up pretty nicely with 2 separate O-rings, which once again, I don't see much purpose to it, but it is certainly nice. Now, the last thing to note about this, if I can get that to work right, as you can see, this is one of them things, looking straight at it. Okay, well now we are getting some light. But the point of that is their anti-spitback system. Do I think it's good? Meh. Do I think it's crappy? Meh. I do not think it is one way or the other. But it's honestly a different design than some of the other ones I've seen. Namely, I'm thinking of that 571 with its brick of a friggin' system. I mean, but then again, that system worked pretty darn well every time. I got condensation, not hot liquid. This, I will get both. And it's upsetting at best. But back to this, back to your high ohm deal. The only other reason I can think of is if you're a temp control nut. I mean, if you like your nickel wire for whatever goddamn reason, first I'm going to tell you to come over to the 21st century, get yourself some damn stainless steel or even titanium. Then after I'm done chastising you and making you feel like a dumbass, I'm going to tell you, hey, we all know nickel, you need bigger, not bigger, but you need more wraps. I use 28 gauge nickel. It's probably why I don't like it, because I can't get a good flavor out of the stuff. But it takes me 10 wraps before it'll even register on about 80% of devices at 0.1 ohm. That being said, that's stupid. But it's the way the stuff works. It was like the first attempt at real temp control, or a wire meant for it, should I say. And I mean, once again, it does the job, but it's not my deal, so I'm not qualified to talk about it. Now, you can effectively run dual coil with that. You can effectively run 5 on one, 5 on the other. It's not going to be quite the same, but it works. And that's the important part. You know, you can run your 5 on 1, 6 on 1, 7 on 1, whatever the hell you want on one side, and it'll work. That's the important thing. That's my big takeaway from this particular device. It's pain in the neck. Do you have better options? Yeah, but it does in fact work. Alright guys, so like I just told you, this is a very different RDA. They tried something new. And I don't know what to say about it. I mean, it fits its purpose. It does what it is in fact supposed to do very well. That being said, I have better options. You know, if I was a temperature control nut, if I love my nickel wire, if I ran a low ohm or a low wattage box, this thing would make sense for me. As it stands now, I don't. And it really doesn't. Now, giving it a try, an honest try, trying to find a way to make it work for me. I managed to do that. With the larger, I guess the larger size velocity deck. I can still play the somewhat higher ohm market than I normally would. I got a little bit more space for them. It does have things going for it. It most definitely does. That is not deniable. Had I really been aware, probably wouldn't have bought it brand new. I mean, brand new as it just came out. I probably wouldn't have paid what I did for it, but I can understand. I can see why someone would want to. If they ran, like I said, low resistance temp control nickel wire, this suddenly starts making a lot of sense. If that's your thing. Personally, I can't stand it. If you're running, say, a 40-watt box, because that's all they had, or that's all you could afford, I could see you using that. Honestly, I started on a K40, and this thing would have been perfect to have. So if you're in one of them situations, by all means, go ahead and grab it. But otherwise, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't recommend you go out and make a special trip for it. But if it's there, I ain't got to tell you not to get it. I can't tell you what to do with your mod money. So that's my thoughts on the Uwell RaphaleX.